So I'm here with Maile Misajon.
Yes.
And not only am I with you, I'm in bed with you.
We're in bed. First date.
You know, I didn't think we were going to take it to the bed right away.
Well, you know.
But I mean, I'm down. I'm down with it.
I'm totally down with it because you're hot.
You're hot. And okay, so I have so many things I want to talk to you about.
Okay.
I guess we should start with Beyonce.
Oh, dear Lord.
I know.
Life-changing. I don't even know where to start.
So we both went to Beyonce last night.
Yes, it was life-changing.
Tell me why it was life-changing. Because we were talking about this before, and we have the same thoughts about Beyonce.
Yeah, well, for one, I think Beyonce is her own person, and she stands for herself. And I think that's why a lot of people gravitate towards her, because she's built something from the ground up, which I completely respect. But why it was life-changing was a million things. And I just wrote about this on my blog. I haven't posted it yet because there's more I want to add.
Your blog is called Mother Is A Verb.
Yes, under Maile-Misajon.com.
And how do you spell that?
Misajon is Misajon.
So the blog is Maile.
Dash Misajon.
MileMisajon.com.
Yeah.
And Mother Is A Verb. And that is why I'm interviewing you. There's so much more to your story. Like you're in a pop star group, which is crazy.
Yeah, eons ago, but yes.
But I'm obsessed with your blog.
Thank you.
I had to break it down with you.
I'm so happy you're here. This is so fun. Can we do this every day?
Every day.
Okay, so about last night. So the reason why I think it was life-changing, honestly, is because, and I wrote this down today because I had to get it out. You know, when people think Beyonce, they'll think a million different things. But one of the first things that people will say is like, you bring up Beyonce, you're going to talk about politics or something like that. And my first gut reaction to writing this down today on my keyboard was there was nothing about last night that was political.
She didn't cover any politics.
No, there was nothing about it that was hate. There was no hate. There was no negativity. There was nothing but love. I was looking in the eyes of people in the audience, strangers. I was crying to them, with them. I was breathing heavily. I was booty shaking, dancing with strangers, bumping butts, shaking my ass, being completely a maniac because A, I had none of my children with me. B, I had 2 vodkas. And 3, because it was Beyonce. And the Formation World Tour is a completely different juggernaut than anything else you've ever seen.
Tell me why.
And because first of all, she created this, it's almost like a monument. It's like this thing that you can't even compare it to other tours. And I've seen a million tours, and I've been on tour, and I've been around the world.
And you've been a pop star.
And I've been a pop star. I have never been a Beyonce pop star status.
You've been a pop star.
But I have been a pop star. And I shook it last night like I was still a pop star because she made me feel empowered. And I'm raising a daughter, so female empowerment to me is loving yourself, loving your body, loving who you are.
It's not like feminist.
No, it's not feminist. And I studied feminism, and my mother taught me a little bit about it, but it isn't that. It's more about, it all comes down to love and healing and truth and rebirth. And that's exactly what the show stood for. And that's what she stands for.
And putting everything out there.
Everything.
She puts it all out there. Like whatever happened with her and Jay-Z, did they have an affair? Did they not? But she talks about it.
She talks about it.
How she hasn't been the same or felt like herself since she had her baby. And then she realized if she loses herself, she loses it all. And like she's mad at the girl Jay-Z had an affair with, but at the same time, she's standing by her man.
You know what she is? She is unafraid. She's fearless.
It makes me want to cry.
It makes me want to cry. I did cry. I mean, I think I've been crying for like a week straight. Maybe that's hormonal. I don't know. But she made me feel like more than empowered. She made me feel grateful to be a woman. And that made me feel way more empowered than I already feel on a daily basis. I have to work to feel empowered because women struggle in that. Women struggle with so many issues. And I'm raising a daughter now, and I don't have time for it.
So what areas do you have to work? What areas are the ones that are the most sensitive for you when it comes to feeling empowered?
Gosh, are we being truthful?
We're being truthful.
Are we being really truthful?
We're Beyonceing this
Okay.
shit.
Okay, so let's be truthful. Probably my biggest struggle with feeling empowered in the last few years has been, for me, I've been working at home. I've been taking care of my children. I've been working since I was 15 years old. And by the way, staying at home working is a full-time job that women should make the same amount of money as a CEO of a huge company or corporation. Because it is the hardest job in the entire world.
And also it is shaping the children which run the future. You know,
yes.
I feel like everything starts at home.
I believe the children are our future. Whitney said it best.
Totally agree. I totally agree. That you're shaping your children.
Yeah.
And how much energy you put into them is a direct reflection of what kind of people they become.
Yeah. And you make choices. And I had been working my whole life, and I got married later in life because I wanted to travel the world and be selfish and do what I wanted to do for me. And I'm so glad that I did, but I had babies later in life. And so working throughout my teens and my 20s and my early 30s to come to a halt and stop working, because I met my daughter in the hospital room, and that day totally changed my life. I could totally cry.
Tell me about this, because I'm at that point where I'm 33.
Oh my gosh.
I know I want to have kids one day.
Yes.
But I'm like you. I've always loved to work.
Oh, yes.
I've always loved to dream chase. I have a lot of dreams that I want to chase.
Chase them. Yes. Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I know I want to have kids.
Yeah.
But why does it change when you meet your kid? Everyone says something happened.
You know, I don't know. I feel like as soon as she came out of my body, I was born to this earth. And I know that sounds so dramatic and crazy, but I feel like I've lived 20 lives.
You have.
And
You've done so much with your life.
I have. I really feel like I've lived a lot of life.
Aren't you proud of what you've built?
I am proud of what I built. But sometimes, this is my issue with the struggle that we're talking about, when you are enthralled in the throes of motherhood and you are literally up to your knees in shit, because that's what it feels like when you're raising babies.
And you can't believe that you had this once life that was so about you, and now it's not about you at all.
Exactly. And that's the whole issue, is that when you throw yourself completely into motherhood by choice. I mean, she came out of my body and I looked at her and I wanted to be near her for the rest of my life. Thank you.
Gorgeous,
she is my heart.
And her personality is unlike any. She's a little shining star.
She is a little shining star. God help us. Yeah. And the day she was born, it changed everything. And
nothing compared anymore.
No. I mean, I feel like I've seen everything in this world that's magnificent and true. But when I saw her, it just surpassed it by a million.
Wow.
Yeah. And
you weren't nervous about all the work and how tired you're going to be?
Oh, I was completely tired. I told my best friend, I was like, I am not giving up my sleep. Like, I need 8 hours every night. She was like, she started laughing. She was like, Maile, that's so funny. She's like, that's hilarious. I was like, what do you mean I'm not giving up my sleep? She's like, no, actually you are. Because when that baby wakes up and she needs you because she's hungry, what are you going to let her just cry? Like, you have to nurture the child that comes out of you. That you have to, you're their whole world. So everything that you ever thought you wouldn't do is thrown out the window. It just is. And it's a wonderful feeling to know that you are that important in the world and to them, because they are the most important to you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. That's kind of how it feels.
Okay, I think I gravitate towards you so much because, you know how you want to identify people that you really admire the way they do their life?
Yeah.
I really admire the way you do your life.
Well, thank you.
Because I see all that you've done, and we're going to get into it, but you were in a pop group called Eden's Crush.
Yes, I was. Mm-hmm.
And we'll talk all about that. Mm-hmm. You moved to Nashville after that. You became a songwriter.
Yes.
You married your sweetheart, Jeremy Stover, who's a huge producer, songwriter.
Yes.
You have a big life. You've traveled. Yeah. You've done it all. You've opened up for freaking NSYNC and Jessica Simpson.
Yes,
and been on world tours. You've worn butterfly crop tops and looked so good.
Yes, that was then. I don't know if I can do that again, but yes.
Shook your booty on national TV all the time.
Yes, I did.
But yet you chose to stop putting, and I'm getting close to where you make the decision for the kids. You chose, you said, okay, I have done me. I've really done me, but now I'm ready. And it's the way you do motherhood is so inspiring to me because you're brutally honest about it.
Thank you. I am. Well, you know what? I don't really know how else to do it. And I think because on the daily, literally 2 nights ago, I had such a rough day. I have 14-month-old twin boys, as you know, and a 5-year-old daughter and a teenage stepson who lives in Georgia. So when my whole house is full of children, it's completely overwhelming. And there are days where I need to drink at 4:00. Okay. I don't have a drinking problem, but there are days that I have to pop the cork because it's so hard. But honestly, I take so much pride in being a mother because I honestly love it that much. And, having my life come to a halt. I was in the middle of making my first record after Eden's crash. I was here in Nashville making a record. Actually, part of it was for Sony in a developmental deal that I did with them. And then that deal kind of closed. It didn't happen. And I was like, what am I going to do? Like, what's my next move? Like, do I even really want this?
Isn't that an interesting place to be?
Oh my God. And I was like, well, I want to make music, but I don't want anyone to tell me what to do and how to do it. I just want to make it.
Control your life.
Yes. And I was at that point where I was sick of people telling me what to do. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. And there was a producer in town that I was working with, and I made a record, and that's when I got pregnant.
And you recorded a music video pregnant.
Yes.
Is it called I Love You More?
It's called More Than I Already Do.
More Than I Already Do. And
yes.
you look gorgeous.
Thank
you're
you.
In this field with your pregnant.
I was 9 months pregnant.
And you're singing. It was really gorgeous.
Thank
so you
you.
said, I'm just going to do my life the way I want to do it.
Yeah.
Because you're not supposed to be pregnant when you're trying to like make it in the music industry.
No, but I honestly, I really could care less like what people think at this point, because what I've learned along the lines of the music business and the entertainment business in general is, you know, the older that you get, the wiser you become in all the choices that you make in your life.
Not everyone does.
Right. You're right.
How did you, have you always been a grower?
You know, I feel like one of the biggest lessons was Eden's crash. And I'll tell you why. Because we were forced into not forced, that's the wrong word. We were thrown into fame very quickly. We were thrown into touring very quickly. And we made a record very quickly, and then it was number one very quickly. So everything sort of happened so fast. And I feel like I met so many wonderful people along the way, but I also saw how the business worked. And
What did you see?
Well, I just saw how political it was. Mm-hmm. I saw how many rules there were. I saw how many rules were broken. I saw people in and out of relationships. I saw relationships break up. I saw them form. I saw people, I don't know. I just saw so many things on the road, in the planes and trains and automobiles and on the bus, and reading books and being interviewed by famous people or whatever it was. I just saw it for what it was worth.
So
and
that was like actually an amazing the veil was lifted.
Oh,
quickly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But I was also 24. So I wasn't like too young to be like, oh my God, I'm meeting, you know, whoever it is for the first time. Justin Timberlake. I'm going to freak out. I'm going to like throw up in his lap. No, I mean, it was like, I literally was just there to embrace it all and see how it went. And I think while I was in it, I really saw life unfold for me.
Did you know you were seeing it when you were in it?
I did. I did. I knew I was seeing it, but I also realized how much work it took to be an artist and to go for it and to keep it. Like
you
Justin
have to give up everything.
Yeah. Everything. And
Talk about that.
Yeah, well, you know, I don't know. I mean, I'll be completely honest. I have always loved performing. I've always loved being in front of a camera, on the stage. It's always been very comfortable for me, it's home.
Yeah.
The actual business of fighting for your career every single day and sacrificing every single thing that you need to sacrifice in order to keep it was too much for me to bear. Mm-hmm. And
there's too many things else that you wanted.
There was,
put your attention
I mean, obviously, how many stars in the world are there, real, true musical artists that are taking it to the high? Beyonce, for example. I mean, how many Beyoncés are there?
Yeah.
There's not that many. There's only a handful that are actually the cream of the crop, that are making it and doing what they set out to do. And honestly, as I was on that journey, I just realized that I loved it. I really, really loved it, but I wasn't willing to sacrifice every single thing that I ever wanted for that.
Totally.
What I wanted to do with my life was to create art on a smaller format. In a smaller format. I wanted to write. My mother always told me I was a writer, but I always had a microphone in front of me. So I was like told to sing or told to, you know, be interviewed or whatever it was. And I learned that by the time that Eden's crush was sort of over and I was sort of packing my suitcases, figuring out what I was going to do, it was in between love triangles and trying to figure out what the hell I was going to do with the rest of my life. I kind of figured out that I wanted to be in the business, but I wanted to be creative and I wanted to live a quiet life.
So you learned that from Eden's crush.
I learned that from Eden's crush. For sure.
Eden's crush was, okay, let's just talk about that. Cause it was like American Idol before American Idol.
It was before American Idol and it was on the WB.
Pop Stars.
It was called Pop Stars on the WB, the former WB. Mm-hmm.
And hundreds hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people auditioned for it. Girls. David Foster produced the band.
David Foster produced it.
And you were picked for Eden's Crush. Like,
Yes.
how did you even like get involved with this? Tell me how it happened for you.
Okay, well, it's actually a short story. I had an agent because I was modeling and doing some TV and film work. And the agent that I had at the time, she was like, I know this is so weird. There's this reality show. I know reality TV is so lame, but there's this reality show. Do you want to audition for it?
One of the first reality shows.
It was one of the first reality shows. And she said, all you got to do is show up and sing. I know you're a singer, right? And I was like, yeah. She goes, you got to sing and dance, blah, blah. So I showed up. Just on a whim, I was like, I'll go. And it was like on a Sunday or something random. And I was like, yeah, I'll go. And I showed up. And what happened was they had already picked a few of the girls and they were not done with picking the group. They just hadn't found the group.
Well, and I was watching videos.
Yeah.
A couple of them dropped out.
Yeah.
At the end.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, they hadn't formed Eden's Crush yet, and we didn't know it was going to be called
Nicole
Eden's Crush.
Scherzinger,
Scherzinger,
was the lead of the Pussycat
Yes.
after. So this was like before Pussycat Dolls.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, I gotta talk about that.
Yeah, she was picked, and then 2 other girls were picked, or 3 other girls were picked. They were actually looking for the 5th girl, and that was me. This was me.
You were like in the final hour.
And they threw a complete whole new catacall for this thing, and I went to the audition.
So they didn't think they had the 5th girl out of every person that had auditioned.
Nope.
They hadn't found you yet.
No, they hadn't found me. So I went to the audition and I sang and danced and learned this, choreography. And then they were like, yeah, can you stay? We'd love you to stay. I was like, okay. So then I stayed, and then I sang for David Foster. And then after that, they were like, can you stay? And so I stayed, and they matched me up with like some girls, and I sang with those girls. And then I got the call the next morning. They were like, we'd like you to, come meet our team or whatever. And so that's kind of how it unfolded. And I met the people. And then all of a sudden contracts started laying in my lap. And I was like, what the hell's going on? No, I was like, I mean, I love music and I'd always wanted a record deal. I never had a record deal. So I was like, well, this is kind of exciting. Let's see how it goes. I had no idea that we were put together, that we would have to come up with a name. We would have to live together. We'd have to cut a record in under like 3 months. We were going to go on tour, with NSYNC and blah, blah, blah. I mean, it was...
Why'd you have to live together?
Because they wanted us to eat, sleep, and breathe Eden's Crush.
Are you good at singing harmonies?
I'm good at singing harmonies, okay, but it's not my favorite.
So with 5 girls, do you all have to like switch leads, sing harmonies, like work together? How did that go? Especially strangers who you didn't know.
Well, that's what started all the cat fights. That's what started all the drama.
The biggest cat fights? Can you tell?
Honestly, one of the biggest cat fights, probably, it wasn't even a cat fight, but one of the hardest things I would say was between me and Nicole was they kept having me and her double each other's vocals because we sounded very similar, but they wanted it to sound like bigger or something. But she sings like beyond, like she has a lot of like cool stuff that she does. It's really powerful or whatever. But every time that they wanted a certain verse to be sung or a certain chorus, they would call me in and then she would double it, or they would call her in and I would double it. So there was this weird thing going on where we didn't really have similar voices, but they wanted us to do the same thing. And so it just was kind of weird. And then the other girls we would all switch vocals. They would like, you do this one and you do this one and you do that word and you do that. And it just got so competitive.
Who sang what?
No, they did. So we didn't decide.
Like the
producers would decide. Whoever
so it was totally formulated
from A to Z. Yeah.
Which is kind of frustrating because you feel like you're just kind of in a way being
just a robot and told what to do. It was very, very, very strange. And I know it was frustrating for Nicole because Nicole was our strongest singer in the group by far. And she probably could have sang every lead vocal if it was given to her, but they wanted to have different sounds for different things. And so she would get upset, or one of the other girls would get upset, or I would get upset. It was just, it created so much drama, and that's what they wanted.
Why?
Because it was for TV.
Oh, were y'all on a reality show
after
the band was formed?
Yes. So they watched us doing all this, and
they're filming it in your house.
Yes.
And they're
editing it all to sort of be dramatic, if you will.
So that's what Diddy tried to do with that girl group later with you guys. What were they
called?
Dana and Kane or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, so, same thing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
We're living together and being filmed for reality.
Yeah.
And during this time, is that when y'all opened up for NSYNC?
Yes, we opened for NSYNC. Yes.
How was that?
Oh my gosh. It was amazing. I mean.
Did you talk to Justin Timberlake?
I did. I talked to all the guys and we all became friends. Justin was dating Britney. So they were kind of like off in their own little corner doing their thing.
So she'd come hang out sometimes?
She would hang out, but she had like her people around her and like she was like, hi. Like she was really shy, and her and Justin are just kind of be doing their own thing. And it was just like, they were kind of in their own world. And then me and the other girls and the other guys, they take us bowling.
Did anyone hook up with anyone?
I can't remember. I didn't hook up with anyone. From what I remember, there was a lot of hugging and stuff like that.
Okay.
But that was it. Yeah, it was a blast. I mean, literally, I remember thinking we were in Toronto at the Toronto Dome, and we stepped on stage, and there was 100,000 seats in that.
Were you freaking out?
I was freaking, but as you know, you've been in a stadium before, and when you step on a stage that's that big with that many people, it's almost like not underwhelming. It's almost like, because you can't get near the people, you're so separated from it. And you have to make sure your ears are right and everything's right. Your costume, everything is, and we did so much dancing. I mean, there was just so many microphones dropping. And I just remember thinking, like, I wasn't even nervous. I just couldn't believe that I was staring at an ocean of 100,000 people going,
this is your life.
This is my life. And I'm performing tonight, like right now, for these people. And these people knew our songs because the record had just been released. And it was just, it was crazy.
What was that hit
Get
called?
Over Yourself, Goodbye.
Get over yourself, goodbye.
Yes.
I mean, it was like a smash.
It was a smash.
Y'all
And
came out of the gate with a smash hit.
yeah, we did. And yeah, that sort of started the, conveyor belt to success for us. That
Then this is the part about the music industry that like is so frustrating, and everything works out for a reason.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
But your record label folded.
Yep.
And so you come out of the gate, you have this huge reality show. You've been on this pop star search across the country. Y'all put it together. You're filming.
Number one TV show, number one record.
Everything number one,
Yeah.
number one song,
Yeah.
whatever. It's all number one. Stage is set, poised for superstardom.
Yeah.
Your label folds, and then it just like goes away.
It does. It went away.
The part about the music industry that can make you insane.
Well, and I see it now every day because I write with artists. My husband and I work with artists. He's, we're around it so much that, being married to an artist, you can see it for what it is day in and day out, and you don't know when your day is up.
But like, that is the stuff that's maddening, because it's like you have literally done everything right.
Right.
You've given them everything
right
beyond.
Yeah.
And now it's just over because the record label.
Yeah,
How
and
did
you know
handle
what?
that disappointment?
Well, first of all, it was such a slow trickle. It was like they told us the label was folding, but we were still putting a single out and a second single. And then that happened. And then we were going on tour with Jessica Simpson. And all this stuff was kind of happening still, but it was like, it was a slow death is what I'll call it. It was a slow death.
They're telling you you're still alive and thriving.
Right. And they're like, oh yeah, everything's fine, blah, blah, blah. But also, we had to fend for ourselves. We were under terrible contracts. You know how all that goes. And so we were kind of like, I was at this place where I was like, here's the thing, girls. If you guys want to keep this going, we can keep it going. But if you don't want to keep it going, then let's all get out and go do our thing, do what makes us happy. And one girl was saying one thing, everyone was just over it.
On the same page.
Nobody was on the same page. And I was like, you know what? This is the perfect opportunity for us to just let it go and find what it is that's going to be our next path and not die over it. You know what I mean?
Isn't that crazy though, that you had this golden egg?
Yeah.
And it was just all there?
Yeah.
And then
it just kind of goes away.
It's hard for me to wrap my head around those moments, but they happen all the time.
Yeah. It's, I don't know what the closest thing you can compare it to.
It's like a waste in a way, but then at the end it makes sense because everything makes sense in the end. But
it does. Well, it was a teacher. It was my first teacher in the, it's almost like, you better not cross anybody. You better keep your friends and your family closer, because there was so much reason for us to keep going. There was so much reason for us to stop. And whatever happened that made it end at the time that it did end was exactly how it was supposed to happen. I didn't think I was going to be a Spice Girl forever. I really just didn't think that was
going to last forever.
No, I didn't think that was going to be my life.
Why not?
Because I felt in my gut that I wasn't going to be in a girl band for like 10 years or 5 years.
Devote your life.
Yeah. I just
I
didn't think that was my life, to be honest.
So when it fell apart, it's like you weren't necessarily totally surprised.
I wasn't surprised, but I also was, really grateful for the experience that it was, because
It to be a pop star.
Yeah. I mean, it for what it's worth, it was one of the most coolest times of my life in my 20s, but it was also such a huge learning lesson in what I didn't want. And that was, I didn't want to be a touring artist all over the world for the rest of my life. I really didn't.
So how great that you had a moment.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm thankful that I got to do it, but it also taught me exactly what my path wasn't going to be, and that was being on the road forever and ever as a touring artist. And I still know that today. And I know that even if I was given that opportunity, I'd probably be like, well, let's get the family on a tour bus. Sure, let's do it all together. Let's stay together. Let's do like 50 days a year instead of 200 dates a year.
But that's the thing. When you are a full-time
you can't.
artist, you can't.
No.
You have to do it.
And that's what I'm talking about with sacrifice.
Yeah.
That's what I learned in that whole process. And that's what brought me to the place that I am now, where I still get to be creative. I still get to be honest and be truthful with what it is I want to say to the world. And I get to do it in the form of music and in the form of writing. You know what I mean?
On your terms.
And on my terms.
And you're in charge.
Yes. And I'm in charge.
Which, that is such a freeing place to be. Especially
it is.
Being in your 20s. I kind of had a similar situation. All my 20s.
Yeah.
Someone else sort of like told me what to do.
Yeah.
It was a great opportunity
to
do so much stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you're never fully in control of your life.
No.
And then you hit this point where you're just like, that was great.
Yeah.
I love that, but I don't want to do that anymore.
No. Mm-mm.
And you decide.
Yep. You decide. You make a change.
Yeah, it's kind of a big choice.
It is.
How old were you? After that fell apart, obviously Nicole wanted to be an artist forever.
Yeah.
Because then right after that, did she form the Pussycat Dolls?
She didn't form the Pussycat Dolls. I actually almost auditioned for the Pussycat Dolls probably a month before she did, because I knew a friend who knew Robin Anton, who's the choreographer, and I just didn't think that it was me. It was just one of those, like, somebody was like, would you do this? Would you want to do this? And I was like, well, maybe like once for my birthday. Like I don't know if I could do that. Like, I don't know if that's me, it didn't feel right to me. I was like, yeah, I could do that. Like put on, that hat for a night or something, but I couldn't do that. So I said no. And I was like, I'm not going to do that. She went on to do that.
Was there any tinge of like, I should have done that?
No. And I think because honestly, that's just not me. I mean, that was a huge success too, the Pussycat Dolls. But again, I feel like every decision that I make, it's like opening a window and closing another door. It's like, it leads to another place. And I wasn't a Pussycat Doll. That's not what I was supposed to do. If I would have been doing it, I would have been, I don't know. I wouldn't have been happy, I don't think.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, so everything happens for a reason.
Yes, it sure does.
So then you moved to Nashville.
Well, okay, so after that, I kind of was treading for water in Los Angeles, and I didn't know what I was doing, but I was thinking about making a change, and I wanted to do music, and I was actually doing a show. Do you know Richard Marks?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's a good friend of mine. He actually produced one of our tracks on our record, or actually, I don't remember exactly how we got hooked up, but it was through Eden's Crush. We worked on a track, we became friends, and we had stayed in touch over the years. He was always checking in with me going like, how you doing? How's music? How's life? Blah, blah. And I was in Europe. Oh, that's what I was doing. I was living in Europe with my ex. Okay. That's a long story.
Cool. Where in Europe?
I was living in Glasgow, Scotland, and the south of Italy. Yes.
Was that so fun?
Yeah, that was really, really fun. On and off for like 2.5 years.
Oh,
yeah.
The life you've lived.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome living over there, but the relationship was not so awesome towards the end, so I had to let that one go. I got engaged after like 5 weeks, and that was a bit of a shit show. But yeah, anyways, it happens, You fall in love, then you fall out of love, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. But anyways, when I was in Scotland, I was living there at the time, and I was getting ready to move back to LA because I was over the relationship, over Scotland, over my life with him. And I was in touch with Richard via email. And he said, if you want to come to a show, I'm doing a show next week with Michael Bolton in LA. You should come. And I was like, oh my God, how fun. And I go, P.S. if you need a chick singer, I'm your girl. Like kind of joking. Because I hadn't sung in like a while. I was living in Europe, blah, blah. He's like, are you kidding? Come sing with me. And I was like, what? So I ended up, he formed this incredible band of musicians, and we did this show. Me and a couple of the girls sang background vocals for him and Michael Bolton. It was the coolest night of my life. And afterwards, he's like, what do you want to do with your life? I was like, I don't know. I'm breaking up with a boyfriend and life is over, and I don't know. He goes, Miley, get your shit together. Roll up your sleeves. Get tough. Move to Nashville. And I was like, Nashville?
You needed someone to tell you. He was your guiding light.
Yeah. He said, get out of LA. be done with LA. Go dive back into your music. Go write some songs. I'm like, I'm not a writer. He goes, yes, you are. He goes, you're a writer. He goes, you have stories inside your heart. Go to Nashville and don't tell anybody. Don't complain about your life. Don't complain about losing your record deal. Nobody's going to give a shit. He's like, go write your story. I was like,
what great advice.
Okay, thanks, dude.
Exactly when you needed it.
Yeah. And so he introduced me to a piano player, and I went to Nashville 2 weeks later, and I met this piano player, and he introduced me to somebody. I moved in with her, and I rented out my condo in LA, and I never came back.
Are you so happy you moved to Nashville?
I'm so happy I moved to Nashville.
But isn't it crazy? They always say, when you're ready, the teacher appears. Like,
yep.
You were in a moment when you needed direction, and literally it came handed to you on a golden platter from quite an incredible teacher, really.
Yeah. I mean, he literally, it just sort of taught me that if you take a leap of faith, even if you don't know one single person in a town that you know nothing about, because of all the touring I ever did, we never came through Tennessee. I know nothing about Nashville.
Crazy.
So it was a leap of faith, but I trusted it. I prayed about it, and I had the support of my family and friends, and they were like, go figure it out. And I started writing songs. I started making friends. I've made the best friends in the world here in this town. And then I met my husband. And I had my babies.
Soon after you moved to Nashville,
yeah,
right?
I feel like I met him about 6 months into living here, and then
I met you right when you met Jeremy.
Yeah,
you guys came over to Jen Wayne,
yep.
my former bandmate,
Yep.
and her boyfriend at the time,
Yep.
Jeremy Popoff.
Yep.
And he brought you. Y'all
Yep.
had just started dating.
Yes, I remember. I totally remember meeting you. I was like, who are these sweet girls? I was like, where am I? What is this town? Who is everybody? I knew nothing about it, and I was just open to like everything, and it was so exciting.
Isn't that interesting though? And I've learned this like in my past, the past 20, which I want to talk about your blog.
Yeah.
Now, because you started this blog, and you actually say this: 20s are for
the mistakes. 30s are for the lessons, and 40s are for buying the drinks.
You just turned 40.
I just turned 40.
And you had quite a birthday.
Oh my God, did I just say that on radio?
You just turned 40.
Well, you could Google it. So yeah.
You look better than ever. You are better than ever.
Thank you.
But isn't it interesting though when you start learning how to just trust that leap that you know you're supposed to take?
Yeah.
But once you just start trusting them, it gets easier, and then you realize that like there's actually a bigger force guiding you, and that is the leaps that you're taking.
100%. Oh, absolutely. I mean, you don't know that, I don't think, as well in your 20s.
I don't think you know it at all.
No, you don't know shit. Okay, I said that in one of my blogs. I cuss in my blog too. Sorry, folks.
I'm obsessed with your blog.
I'm a little crass. I mean, I just am trying to be honest. I made a lot of mistakes.
You speak your language. You speak your true language.
Well, I'm learning every day. I'm still learning. Just because I'm 40 doesn't mean I have it all figured out. I mean, I'm a mother of four. I'm a mother of twins, which is a complete shit show. And it's so hard every day.
You have a blog too called I wrote it down. You have twins. What does it say? You're having twins. Congrats. Prepare to die. Just kidding. Prepare to cry.
Yes. Well, the reason I said that is because it's a really frightening shit show. I'm not going to lie. It's the hardest thing that I've ever encountered in my life. And it's also the biggest blessing I've ever seen in anything in life besides having my daughter. I mean, giving birth to these 3 kids has taught me to be the strongest version of myself that I can possibly be. And that is my greatest success.
Do you feel completely do you feel like you have owned your worth?
100%.
That
for
is
sure.
amazing. Because I feel like
for
that,
sure.
And I can feel that about you, because just the way you are, I can just tell you are okay with yourself.
I am. And it's taken me a long time to be that way. It didn't happen overnight. And I still have
What did you do to get there?
Well, I think I owe it a lot to my children, because honestly, that becoming a mother changes everything. But it also grows you as a person. And having children in my 30s, because the 30s are really about the lessons, I feel like having my children in my 30s, it didn't give me the opportunity. It made the opportunity for me to grow into the person that I wanted to become, because it's a shit show. And I'm sorry I keep saying that, but it's
the only way you can describe it.
It's the only way to describe it, because it forces you have to take care of these people. You made a choice, and it's the best choice I ever made, but it teaches you you're going to become unraveled. You're going to become, you're very imperfect. There's nothing that happens perfectly smooth sailing. But you created these people that look up to you and depend on you and love you unconditionally. And that has been my greatest teacher. I mean, I feel like with everything that I've done in this world, if there's one thing, if I died tomorrow, and I know that I hate being morbid, but I always say this, it's like I learned my greatest lesson in life from becoming a mother. And the reason is because they gave me life.
So what changed
You know what I mean?
about you?
Well, I started caring less what people thought about me.
What a relief.
You know, it's kind of like you live in LA, you live in Nashville. These are two towns that are widely based on entertainment business.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's always asking you, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you getting into? What's happening?
Defined by what they're
People
doing.
are defined by what they're doing. And for the first time in my life, I realized that my own happiness in my life is greatly decided by me and nobody else. And that, I think, was the biggest game changer for me, is realizing that everyone's life is their own. It has nothing to do with you.
You don't have to worry about it.
No, you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to look at somebody else's life and compare yourself. It's the thief of it's the thief of joy. You can't do that.
That's a huge awakening.
Yeah, it is. And it's served me my greatest happiness so far, and I hope it continues to.
Okay, so why did you launch this blog?
I launched Mother Is A Verb on MaileMisajon.com because
MaileMisajon.com. Spell it one more time. Just
MaileMisajon.
I love your name.
.com. Thank you.
.com.
I launched it because, I started blogging when Kona Blue was born, because I had to get it out. I had been writing songs, consistently in Nashville for a few years, and I had her and I stopped. I wanted to nurture her and be with her every day. I didn't want to go back to writing full time. And so I had to get it out somehow. Mm-hmm. And that's why I started it. Well, once I Kona Blue was about a 1.5, I got back into writing full time and I ditched the blog. Well, I relaunched the blog because I had the twins, and the twins changed motherhood, the game of motherhood for me. And mother, there's a lot of definitions for mother, but mother is really a verb. There is non-stop work involved in mothering. And I really believe that statement is very true. And I also started the blog with every intention of changing the world. And I know people say that all the time. I know people are like, oh my God, you can't change the world. And everyone that's political will be like, why are you trying when the world's never going to change? The world's been this way since. Well,
that's what everyone thinks, and it never will.
Right. And my intentions for the blog is, for me to get out what I feel on a daily basis and to help other mothers and learn from their stories, learn from their mistakes. I hope people learn from my mistakes and my journeys as a twin mom, as a mother, and mothers all alike, from here to, Afghanistan, globally. I really want it to reach a lot of people, because I also hopefully at some point want to fund education to all mothers and children. I'd feel like education is the one thing that we're missing amongst a lot of youngsters, and they make bad choices because they haven't been taught. And that is something that's really, really important to me. So that's later. Obviously, I have to just keep writing to get more people to come to my site and read my stories. But my goal is to be able to actually try and educate women and children across the globe. That's really what I'd love to do.
Well, you're already doing that, because
thank you.
I read a lot of blogs, and I love a lot of blogs. But there's something about your blog that, I read it and I get obsessed with you.
Thank you.
I literally read your blogs and I literally have to text you because I'm coming out of my skin because I can't believe how you put it together, how you said it, how you're talking about stuff. I'm not a mother, but how you're talking about stuff that I can think about. Yeah. And you put it into words, and you cuss, but you're also so wholesome, but you're just real, and you've just decided to be honest, which I think kind of takes bravery. Yeah. Because you even talk about marriage, honestly, the good, the highs, the bads, the lows, all of it. Yeah. You talk about the highs and lows of parenthood. And I feel like, how did you decide to become so brave with it and just put it out there? Well, because I didn't realize there was a platform to reach people to actually talk about, life. I mean, there was Facebook and, blah, blah, blah. But I feel like when I communicate from an honest place, usually either in my bed with my laptop with a glass of wine, or in my kitchen with my laptop and my 9th cup of coffee when the children are sleeping,
I get an idea. You know, it's like in songwriting where you kind of like a flash hits you and you're like, oh my God, I need to talk about this. I find that if I'm not honest, there's just no authenticity. And
what's the point?
One thing that I feel like my mom and dad taught me well was to be honest and loyal. And I can't be honest. If I can't be honest and loyal to my readers or to the public, if I'm going to put it out there, I'm going to be fucking honest. There's nothing I'm going to hide about what I'm saying.
See, I still have this little voice in the back of my head that wants to like filter stuff sometimes. I'm like,
right.
oh,
right.
If someone reads this,
right.
you know, and they judge me.
Right.
Do you have that voice?
You know, sometimes, I mean, I feel like I have a daughter who is just starting to read and she's going to read some stuff of mine. And I look at the blogs that I've already written. I'm like, okay, well, there's definitely some cussing. It's kind of like taking her to a Beyonce concert. She's not ready for that. She's not going to be ready for a while because Beyonce celebrates sexuality. And a lot of that is from being married and from being in a relationship. And that's something that we celebrate because we're in our, well, you're in your 30s. I'm now in my 40s. Crazy shit right there. But I celebrate that. I celebrate being sexual because I'm married and I've had babies. Yes, I'm sexual, you know, but my daughter isn't big enough to understand that. So no, you know, she's not going to go to a Beyonce concert, but I feel like I'm going to be as honest as I possibly can about the subject that comes to my mind that I'm passionate about. And if I'm going to write about it, I'm just going to say it as it is. And there's no other way for me to do it. There's no point of me writing a blog if I'm not going to be authentic to who I really am. If you and I are having drinks right now in a restaurant downtown and we're having wine and we're talking about, you know, why that there's like a dry spell in our marriage, like why aren't we having sex? I'm going to be like, Caroline, seriously? Jump him. Do something. You know what I mean? Like if I'm going to put that, you know, if I'm going to say that to you and I feel like writing about it tomorrow, I'm going to say jump him in the blog. Yeah. I'm going to talk, you know, it's like having conversations about the struggle of trying to get pregnant or, you know, anything that women talk about this shit. They're they're loyal to each other. They
I feel like you
speak the truth.
To talk
you
about it.
have to. Men don't. You know, men talk about sports. They talk about
but
sports,
they
you know.
also talk. I feel like a woman is a sanctuary for a man.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a man doesn't talk about this stuff with anyone, but
They
then
don't.
he'll talk about it with his wife.
It's true.
And
it's
so
true.
we have to go get supported from our girlfriends.
Yes.
So then we can like build up our man.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel that way?
I do. And I sometimes I ask him like, you should go out for a beer more with so-and-so. And, you know, we were all, you know, on like one of my texts with the mom squad or whoever it is, we're like talking about whatever. And he's like, what are y'all talking about over there? And I'm like, oh, you know,
we're keeping our marriages great.
Yeah, we're keeping our marriages great. We're talking about stuff that you want me to be talking about.
I need to be working this out with my friends so I can love you when you get home.
That is exactly it. So I can love you when you get home because it's hard. You know, marriage is not built on, you know, this foundation that's never going to crumble. It's going to crumble and then it's going to be built back up again because two people love each other and they want to make it work. Nothing is... You know, when I was a young girl, I honestly looked at my parents and thought that everything that they did was perfect and right and true. And that white picket fence was going to be mine one day and it was going to be perfect.
Yes.
And then I got married.
Yep.
And I realized, I called my mom one day just bawling my eyes. I'm like, you know, that I didn't even know what was wrong with our relationship, but there was something that didn't feel right. And I was upset. And she was like, I'm like, Dad never did this. Dad never did that to you. I'm like, he was so good to you. And my mother's like, girl, please. She was like, dang it. And, you know, all of a sudden my ears were open to this whole new reality of my parents have been married almost 50 years. And within 50 years, there's going to be some struggles. Don't think that there's perfection all the way through. I'm on year 8 with my husband and we have been through it. And going through it, that's another thing I'm going to be talking about in another blog is, you know, the having children part and how hard it is to make that decision in a relationship. It changes a marriage. I mean, it doesn't have to, but I think having children changes a marriage 100%.
Is it a good change?
I think it's a great change. I mean, honestly, there's movies out there that'll, you know, paint certain things this way or TV shows or whatever, but you will only know with your husband in the moment when you're holding that baby between y'all in that big bed and you are looking at something that you guys created. And as hard as it's going to be and as hard as it is to get to that point, you both know that it's going to be the greatest thing that you ever do. And it's going to bring you guys closer together, you know?
And I guess like sometimes the scary part that I have is like, you can't just like go pack up and fly somewhere on a whim, or just go out and have drinks all night with your friends if you want to, or do it. But you still like
you
go to Beyonce on a whim.
You know, you can. And here's why. Yes.
Okay, tell me why.
Because
Make it not scary.
You know, because everything I told you earlier about the things that you think that you'll never do, like I'm going to have 8 hours of sleep for the rest of my life. I never have 8 hours of sleep, even in Mexico when I'm without the children.
That was your 40th birthday.
That was my 40th birthday. I was in Mexico, and it was epic and fabulous in all its glory.
Your husband for the win.
Yeah, my husband for the win, 100%. He outdid himself, and I owe him big time. Big time. Yeah, I mean, having children is gonna change everything, but you will get back to you guys. You will get back to you. There's going to be a lot of growth between having the baby or being pregnant with the baby, having the baby, raising that baby in the first year. I mean, yeah, I have 14-month-old twins, and I went to Beyonce on 2 hours notice last night. And you know what? It was such a badass yes decision that I made. My friend Nicole was like, this is the second best yes decision you ever made, because she asked me to go to Dixie Chicks like a couple months ago on like a 24-hour whim. Like, do you want to go? Can you leave the twins? Can you come? And I was like, fuck yeah, I'm going. I'm going to Chicago for 24 hours with you. Yes. And she's like, this is going to be the greatest night ever. And it was. And we met the Dixie Chicks.
You did it then
and
too?
we sang every song, and we got to talk to them. And life was just, it's like, what is this life?
You need those moments though to be you.
Yeah, you do.
Just to remind yourself that you are you.
Yeah.
But there's so much more to you now.
Yes, absolutely. There's so much more dimension.
And that is what your blog conveys to me 100%.
Well, thank you.
Like, I see all the sides. I see the carefree, go on a whim girl, do it all, but then also super responsible, love your kids.
Yeah.
But you're going to talk about the shit that happens.
Yeah.
You're going to love your husband, but you're going to talk about the shit. But you're doing it all, and you're being honest about it.
Yeah.
And I am obsessed with it.
Oh, thank you.
And I think you have one of the best motherhood blogs out there.
Oh, you're so sweet.
And
Thank
I cannot
you.
wait for it to keep growing.
Thank you. Thanks so much. From your lips to God's ears.
That's it. I mark my words. I think your blog is going to be a monster.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, so we're going to wrap up. Make sure I covered everything. I mean, we pretty much covered it all, right?
We covered a lot. Yeah. I feel like.
Tell me what you're looking forward to in the next 10 years, and then we're going to wrap up.
Oh my gosh. The next 10 years, I really pray for the health and well-being of my children and my husband and I and our whole family. That's my greatest wish. Also to grow this blog, to reach as many people as I can, and to change the world with it. I know it's sometimes weird to even say that out loud, but I feel like that was the intention behind it. It was to try and reach out and to empower women and young girls and kids across the globe, that if they want to be an entrepreneur one day that they can, you know, that anything is possible. And that's really my hope for the growth of within my work, within my blog, and to continue writing songs and to continue raising this awesome family that God gave me, and to be happy and healthy and to travel the world and love my friends and family. That's pretty much it.
And I think you are crushing it. But tell me really fast, how important is your girlfriend squad? Because y'all aren't man bashing. Y'all don't get together and bash your husbands. You get together and you breathe it out. You work it out. Yeah. But y'all all support your marriages. You support the family. How essential is that to your life?
Well, I'll tell you, it's religion for me. The mom squad, girl squad, whatever you want to call it, is religion to me. It's one of those things. My mother used to tell me when I was younger, she would go on these weekend trips with her girlfriends. I'm like, what do you guys do? Like, they go to Palm Springs or something. I'm like, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm like, how lame are you guys? You know, she'd be getting her nylons ready and some outfit. And I'll be like, judging, you know. Now I'm like, when are we booking the next girls trip? When are we booking the next girls dinner? Because they are your salvation. When you become a mother, you need as many mom friends as possible, because nobody understands what you're going through unless they have been through it themselves.
True.
And honestly, it fuels a lot of passion in my heart for the women that I'm friends with, for other women out there. I've met so many girls in social media now that are moms. I've met them in Nordstrom. I've met them at the coffee shop when they're talking about their kids or complaining about lice or some other weird shit they're talking about at school, or should we go to public school? Should we go to private? You're going to need your girl squad. You have to form that bond with some other mothers when you become a mother, but not just when you're a mother. When you're not a mother, you're just a wife. You need a girl in the city of wherever you're living needs to have girlfriends, The girl squad is so important. I can't stress it enough.
I agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Okay, so leave your light. I wrap up every interview with leave your light. So just leave some inspiration from everything you've experienced. Like, leave your inspiration.
I say begin and end every day with love. I feel like that's the best gift that you can give to the world, is to begin and end every day with love. Because if you do that, I feel like you're doing the purpose. I think that that's the most important thing that we can do to create love in the world, really.
I love that.
That's it.
Maile Misajon.
Yes.
Y'all, Mother is a Verb. Go check it out. Your life will be changed. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Caroline.
You're the best.
You are too.
Okay, bye.
Bye.